and they're better than ever.
One time for the city. My city.
Justice League.
Bitch up on the land till I die. Till I die. On the east side till I die. Till I die. Bumping that bone thugs till I die.
Hello, welcome back to Ohio Sprays. Mike and I had winter break and finals for the past month, so we were unable to film videos, but now things are coming back into routine and we have the time to film now. Let's we start off today by talking about the unfortunate team. We won a game.
They did.
And we didn't go 0-16.
That's a big deal.
We didn't get the parade.
It is a big deal.
It is a huge deal because I didn't want that parade whatsoever. Guess it's embarrassing. The win came on December 24th, Christmas Eve, against the Chargers. Great win, 20-17. Chargers kicker misses the field goal as time expires.
Yeah, it was the Browns who got the last laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could live with myself after we lost to an 0-14 team at the time.
I don't know how that must feel.
I don't know. I mean, being a Browns fan or a Browns player, it really sucks going 1-15, but then saying you lost that, you were that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that goes.
Joe Thomas had a pretty good quote where he was like, I don't want to say this was like our Super Bowl, but it really was.
Yeah, that's not good.
Which, I mean, it shows that despite being 0-14 at the time of this game, that the need to win never dies, especially at the professional level. Like people were talking about draft picks and draft order and all that stuff, when in reality, when you're getting paid to play a game like that, you gotta win no matter what. You can't just throw in the towel and wait till next year. That's not how it goes.
Yeah. Thankfully, the Browns haven't fired Hugh Jackson yet.
I thought that was a plus.
Yes, I like Hugh Jackson.
We did fire our defensive coordinator.
We did.
And we signed Greg Williams, which I think a lot of people think was not a major upgrade, but a slight upgrade at that.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done in the offseason for the Browns.
Mm-hmm. The signing of Greg Williams, a lot of people seem to think points towards Myles Garrett being the Browns' target for the number 1 overall pick. That being said, a certain Clemson quarterback really helped his draft stock in the national championship game. I'm not saying we necessarily need Deshaun Watson, but he might very well be the best player on the board.
I think the Browns need to work on the offensive line, first of all. Because I don't care if Tom Brady's our quarterback, he can't do anything if he's being sacked most of the game.
Yeah, that was the story of the season with all of our quarterbacks getting injured.
I mean, we had 6 different quarterbacks, 7.
Technically 7.
Technically, because I mean, Terrell Pryor, like what?
Yeah,
was that quarterback for like
a couple of plays.
2 plays? Yeah. The Browns averaged giving up 4.1 sacks per game, which is the worst in the league.
I didn't think he was anywhere near that bad.
Notable games about giving up sacks. The Chargers gave up 9 sacks. One of the games against the Steelers, we gave up 8. The Giants, we gave up 7.
I can't think of any, like, who would be a target for the Browns in terms of offensive line. You think draft-wise? Or?
Draft-wise, there's definitely Pat Elflein from Ohio State. And then I've been hearing stuff about Michigan center.
Okay. I think getting Joel Bitonio back, because he missed most of, if not all of the season with a right foot injury.
Yeah.
That'll prove to be helpful.
Yeah, I just think that is definitely. I think both sides of the line is key, just for like a ground basis. That's where we gotta start, because that's where the games are won, is on the line. Looking at potential quarterback draft picks, because that's who we draft every year as a quarterback.
Great.
3, in my opinion, 3 key standouts is Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina, who's originally from Mentor. Deshaun Watson, obviously, and Deshaun Kaiser. In my opinion, Deshaun Kaiser we should definitely not get from Notre Dame. Went 4-8 this year, and I think I watched a couple of games of Notre Dame, and he didn't do anything fantastic. I know he lost to North Carolina State. It wasn't the best game because there was a hurricane going on, but I mean, 4-8 is not, in my opinion, good.
He's been one of the most difficult, I think, for people to really get a read on because he's flown up and down the draft board so much that no one really knows what he'll bring to the table. And I haven't seen much of Trubisky, but he's an interesting guy to watch. He almost won their bowl game for him against Stanford, but what the heck was his name? Solomon Thomas really took the game into his own.
I think it was like Mitch's worst game of the year.
Still, he was
in the game though.
He was in the game. He had 2 picks. Not a great showing, but he was. Yeah. He had the talent to get him there.
Yeah. We have 3 first-round draft picks?
I think only 2 as of right now.
2. Okay. It'll be interesting to see what we do. So Cleveland's always interesting. It wasn't a good year, I'd say, for us as football fans. Ohio State had a good season, I could say, but definitely did not end how we wanted it to. Losing is one thing, but not showing up is another thing, in my opinion. Ohio State went 11-2 this year, and lost to Clemson in the playoff semifinal, 31-0. That was, I believe that they said that Urban Meyer's first game as a head coach at not scoring a point.
I believe it was the first Ohio State bowl game since 1920 that they hadn't scored a point.
Yeah, so that was really, I mean, there were 2 missed field goals, but, I mean, it was just an all-around terrible game for Ohio State. I just think the fans deserved a bit more. It seems that they had a month off, and we had not stellar games against Michigan State and Michigan.
That Clemson game is a bit difficult for me to really assess in one way or the other because of how good Clemson is and how good they were against Alabama, a team that people thought no one was going to be able to touch this year. But I feel like most people have been saying all year that this Buckeye team, they're young, and that's
are the youngest team
about
in the FBS
all year. 43 freshmen, I believe. Mm-hmm. That to me, that's a team that finished 11-2 that really did quite a bit better than most people expected in terms of like their talent level. They played above their talent level. Next couple of years, hopefully it ends better, but I think this year they really maxed out people's expectations of them.
I think that really says something about Urban Meyer, though, because, I mean, we lost 14 players to the draft the year before, and all year everyone's saying going into this season was, Ohio State's going to be so young this year and inexperienced, and he still got them to the playoffs. I mean, if that's our down year by getting killed in the playoff, I think I'd be pretty happy with that.
I mean,
always competing.
Yeah, it is frustrating that it ended the way it did. But had it been closer, I feel like most people wouldn't have even questioned it. But you got to remember that getting to the number 4 spot is a huge accomplishment, especially in this current playoff thing. It's like they get there. Not too many other. You have 128 or whatever eligible teams. Mm-hmm. To be the number 4, that's pretty good.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about who deserved to be in the playoff this year, as well as who belongs in the playoff this year. Did that make sense? Because Penn State deserved to be in the playoff, but Ohio State had a better resume, I guess, by the committee.
It's a much better resume, in my opinion.
The Big Ten was pretty good this year. At least the East was. With Michigan and Penn State, Ohio State barely duking it out at the end. Yeah, I think we have a lot to look forward to. However, we are losing many key players.
Oh, wow.
Malik Hooker at safety, both cornerbacks of Marshawn Lattimore and Gary Conley. And then along with our linebacker, Raquan McMillan, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel at halfback, Noah Brown, receiver Pat Elfline, who's graduated, at center, and Corey Smith. And so that's
this
a good number.
It's the tail of the tape for teams all around the country. That's the way college football works. Is you have guys who graduate or leave early, or that's just the way it is. And I'm sure with Urban's recruiting classes that he's got plenty of people waiting in the wings to take their place.
We have a lot.
There are a couple of surprises on there, like Noah Brown.
6 5-star recruits.
That's quite a few. There have been some big names thrown around as of late. His name Torrance Gibson was one of the big names last year who just recently transferred to Cincinnati.
Yeah. Very interesting.
It'll be interesting to see with JT coming back for his senior year.
You think he's in a little bit of jeopardy right now? Because
a bit. I mean, JT is like, I feel like he has cemented himself as being a starter.
Yeah.
But whether or not he can prove that he can, like, still be the best, like an offensive threat in the Big Ten, like he was his freshman year.
He definitely was not as clutch this past season as he was in 2014 when he won the championship. I wouldn't say any position is already set in stone. I'll say that.
I'd agree with that. I would be incredibly surprised if next year Joe Burrow was our starting quarterback as opposed to JT Barrett.
I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be completely opposed to it because of this, I won't say mediocre season, but less than.
It was definitely a less than ideal season for JT Barrett. I mean, he's come into the past 2 seasons as a Heisman favorite, or a Heisman watch, not Heisman favorite. And he has not quite performed to people's expectations of him.
But hopefully you have a good off season. A lot of recruits coming in. Tate Martell, and so we'll be looking forward to next season. Next season will be, hopefully, if we're still doing this,
main
campus in Columbus.
In the big library.
I would still say the Cavs are definitely the favorite to win the East and go to the finals again. I know we haven't beat the Bulls yet, right?
I don't think so.
But I don't think that's a big concern.
The Bulls are 21-21 right now.
Yeah, so they got to make it to the playoffs first.
Yeah.
So there's that. Do you like the addition of Kyle Korver?
Oh, I couldn't believe that actually happened. He's the type of, he's just, once he gets in the flow of the team, he's going to be able to really open up the floor for us. We're going to have another guy like JR, another guy like Channing Frye, another guy like Kevin, a spot-up shooter that really opens up the middle for LeBron's type of game, where he can crash the basket. Kyrie's also.
Yeah. I was watching the game on Monday with the Warriors, and he was, Korver was taking some very, he was still moving, I guess, coming off screens and whatnot, and making shots, and I was impressed by it. I love Kyle Korver. Before he even got traded to the Cavs, mostly because he's just a white guy who shoots the ball. And since J.R. Smith's out till March, sometime this spring,
10 to 12 weeks after surgery.
Basically, he's going to be replacing him. But when he comes back, he'll probably Korver will come off the bench for him, maybe, or the other way around.
It'll be interesting to see once Korver is really like fully invested in this team, because he's only been there like a week or 2.
Yeah.
And once JR is healthy, because I don't think you could feasibly see a way that we'd have Kyrie, LeBron, Kevin, JR, and Korver starting.
Oh no. But then we wouldn't really have we wouldn't have a true center then.
Exactly.
Well, I guess we still don't have a true center because Tristan Thompson's only 6'9".
Yeah.
But
Tristan
yeah.
Thompson's 6'11".
Is he?
He's tall.
I think he's the same height as LeBron. Ish.
It's hard to tell. LeBron's tall.
He is very tall. But yeah, it's getting to be. I'm not gonna say stacked like the Warriors, where they have 4 All-Stars.
Yeah.
But we have like a lot of smaller All-Stars.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
We have more building blocks. They seem to have more firepower. If you know. What
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
To me, that sounds like a good way to put it.
As well as the Suns.
The way it seems to me, like the way the Cavs have been built is they play well off each other. It'll be interesting to see how Korver fits into that.
Yeah.
The Warriors, they have a lot of chemistry for a team. Like you could see it in the game against the Cavs. It's like they play well together, but I don't think they play well together as well as the Cavs can. They didn't show it in the game against the Warriors.
Obviously, yeah. It was just...
Now I have a question for you. Do you feel as if there isn't much urgency in this Cavs team? Like they feel almost like they've got the East handled, and do you think that could possibly hurt them when it comes to the playoffs? There are only 2 games ahead of the Raptors right now.
That is always a thing of when you just kind of show up. It's really hard to tell right now because they've lost the past 3 of their 4 games on the road in the West. But everything's kind of in a not a mess, but it's kind of there's been a curveball thrown in with Korver, so everything needs to kind of settle down and work together again. And it can, but I don't think LeBron will let that happen. I trust LeBron.
And in some brief Indians news, they've begun their off-season signings of players getting contract extensions and such, but the big name headlining all of those signings is the acquisition of Edwin Encarnacion from the Blue Jays. He's really going to be a great addition for that ball club.
First base, right?
I have no idea.
Okay.
To be honest.
He's just a good player.
He hits the ball.
Okay.
All right. Well, good start to the 2017 year.
For first one.
Ohio
First one.
Sprays.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. He's Mike.
This is Chris. See you next week.